What is going on, guys? It's your boy, Keegan. Today I'm going to be jumping into my top 10 greatest boxers of all time. When I say greatest boxers of all time, I'm not talking about the greatest records. I am talking about, in their prime, the baddest men to ever step foot inside of the squared circle. At number 10, Andre, Soldier of God Ward. Now, a lot of casual fans may not understand the greatness of Andre Ward and may have never really heard his name before. The thing about Ward that makes him top 10 all time, besides retiring with an undefeated record, was his 2004 Olympics gold medal in the light heavyweight division. That ended up launching his career, and once becoming pro, he entered into a tournament that will probably go down as the greatest boxing tournament of all time. It was called the Super Six. There were 6 of the best super middleweights in the world. And at the time, the super middleweight division was on fire. And Andre Ward was able to beat Arthur Abraham and Carl Froch. Carl Froch is a bona fide Hall of Famer. After that, Andre Ward would continue his unbeaten streak and then go up to light heavyweight and end up finishing Sergey Kovalev at the light heavyweight division, capturing the light heavyweight title and going out and retiring on top. Number 10 is one of the greatest boxers of all time, Andre Ward. At number 9, one of the pound for pound hardest punchers, most devastating punchers, Manny the Pac-Man Pacquiao. Now, Pacquiao made history by being the first boxer to ever win world titles in 8 weight division, having won 12 major titles, as well as being the first boxer to win the lineal championship in 5 different weight classes. And if he would have beat Floyd, he probably would have been top 3 on this list. But losing to Floyd Mayweather was not the only thing that ended up bringing Manny Pacquiao down on my list. It was getting knocked out by Marquez. He's lost a few times, actually, in his prime. Now, that being said, he's still top 10 greatest all-time pound for pound, in my opinion. Winning world titles in 8 weight divisions, unifying, becoming a lineal champion in 5 of those 8 weight divisions is just absurd. Almost finishing Keith Thurman and winning a world title at almost 40 years old is also absurd. So he is one of the greatest boxers of all time. And if you have him higher on your list, I wouldn't be mad. Coming in at number 8, we have the only fighter on this list that is still active, and it's none other than Saul Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez has a combined record of 62-2 with 39 knockouts. He started professionally fighting at the age of 15. He is only 33 years old and has already solidified himself as a top 10 all-time pound-for-pound fighter. In my opinion, he has solidified himself as the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, one of the most devastating punchers the sport has ever seen, and has wins over some of the biggest names in boxing history. Wins over Gennady Golovkin, which the first fight may be disputed, but he definitely beat Golovkin the last 2 times. Now, Canelo would have been higher on my list had he have beat Bivol. I don't think it hurt him too much losing to Bivol, but it definitely kept him out of my top 5. That being said, there is plenty of space at only 33 years old for Canelo Alvarez to go fight David Benavidez, to fight the bigger Charlo, to maybe have a rematch with Bivol and climb his way back up this list. But still to this day, one of the greatest to ever strap the gloves on, probably one of the scariest on this list, power punching wise, Canelo Alvarez. Next, coming in at number 7, we have the only heavyweight, or I'm sorry, one of the 2 heavyweights on this list, Rocky Marciano. Now, you may ask me, what makes Marciano top 10 all time? And I'll tell you this, he's the only heavyweight professional boxer to finish his career undefeated. He also holds the record for the highest knockout to win ratio, 85.7%. Marciano was one of the hardest punching heavyweights the sport has ever seen. He holds the record for the longest undefeated streak by a heavyweight. And as mentioned earlier, he's the only heavyweight to end up going undefeated. Now, you might say his competition wasn't great or they were old. Listen, boxing is one of those few sports where regardless of how far back you go, there are fighters. There are some of the baddest men were from the 40s, 50s, 60s. So Rocky Marciano earned his undefeated record and he earned his spot on this list. And he is one of probably the hardest puncher on this list, pound for pound. Coming in at number 6, we have Sugar Ray Leonard. Now, what is Sugar Ray known for accomplishment-wise? Besides his big fights with Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard is widely regarded as one of the best professional boxers of all time, winning world championships in 5 different weight classes and becoming the first fighter to earn more than $100 million in prize money. Now, another thing about Sugar Ray Leonard is that he won a gold medal in the light welterweight division in the 1976 Summer Olympics. Sugar Ray Leonard, in 201 professional bouts, had 109 knockouts, lost 19 times, but most of those losses came when he was past the age of 40. He won world championships in 5 different weight classes, and he ended up beating Roberto Duran. He's one of the greatest boxers we've ever seen. Coming in at number 6, we have Sugar Ray Leonard. Coming in at number 5, and I believe that this is fitting, we have the man that ended up beating Sugar Ray Leonard in his prime, the one and only Roberto Duran. Now, I specifically put Roberto Duran over Sugar Ray Leonard because when Roberto Duran was in the best shape of his life, when he had his head on, and when he fought Sugar Ray Leonard in his prime, when they met in their prime head to head, Roberto Duran beat Sugar Ray Leonard. The first to ever do it, the only one to be able to match Sugar Ray skill for skill the way that he did. Roberto Duran, easily a top 5 boxer of all time, in my opinion. He held world championships in 4 different weight classes: lightweight, welterweight, light middleweight, and middleweight, which is just a testament to his punching power. He was able to carry his punching power up from lightweight all the way up to middleweight, which is absurd. Duran also reigned as the undisputed and lineal lightweight champion and lineal welterweight champion. So he was the lineal champion in 2 different weight classes before going up and beating Sugar Ray Leonard. Coming in at number 5, Roberto the Man Duran. Coming in at number 4, we have who some consider the greatest boxer of all time, Muhammad Ali. Now, Ali dominated boxing for over 2 decades. He won an Olympic gold medal, and he also captured the heavyweight championship 3 times. Now, Muhammad Ali probably has faced some of the stiffest competition on this list. He was truly in an era of heavyweight boxing, and when heavyweight boxing was at its best. He fought the best, he beat the best, and the only time he lost was to the best. Now, another thing about Muhammad Ali, he has one of the biggest upsets in boxing history, where he took a fight with the formidable George Foreman while George Foreman was in his prime. Everybody knew George was going to kill Muhammad Ali in that ring. They told Muhammad Ali, please don't fight him, and Muhammad Ali used the famous rope and dope tactic to lay against the ropes, tire George Foreman out, get in his head, and then finish George Foreman in the 8th round. Coming in at number 4, the GOAT himself, Muhammad Ali. Coming in at number 3, another Sugar, another Ray, but it's Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson had probably the sweetest hands on this list by far. Now, Robinson held the world welterweight title from 1946 to 1941, where he was just completely unstoppable. He got bored with that, went up to middleweight, becoming champion, I think 5 different times between 1951 and 1960. At his peak, his record was an astounding 128-1. Guys, when we talk about the greatest boxer of all time, if you're talking to somebody that thinks that they're a true boxing fan and they don't have Sugar Ray Robinson in their top 5, they probably don't know much about boxing. His hands were that nice. Coming in at number 2, none other than the man you love to hate, Floyd Money Mayweather. Mayweather was named Fighter of the Decade for the 2010s by Boxing Writers Association of America, a 2-time winner of Ring Magazine's Fighter of the Year, 1998 and 2007, a 3-time winner of the BWAA Fighter of the Year, 2007, 2013, 2015, and a 6-time winner of the Best Fighter ESPY Award. Now, what makes Floyd Mayweather great, and what a lot of people hate on Floyd Mayweather about, they don't give him credit or his resume. What made Floyd stand out to me was early in his career when he ended up taking on Diego Corrales. Diego Corrales was 33-0 with like an 80 or 90% knockout ratio. Floyd was the underdog in this fight, okay? Floyd had just come off knocking out Emmanuel Augustus, one of the greatest, defensive and rhythm fighters of all time, and jumps right in there with Diego Corrales. and he drops Corrales 5 times and finishes Corrales. After Diego Corrales, he goes on to have a very close fight with Jose Castillo, which is one of the only fights that they say Floyd truly lost was against Castillo. But what does Floyd do? Does he run from a close fight? He rematches the same guy again and beats him convincingly the second time. So he goes from Augustus, Diego Corrales, Jose Luis Castillo, Chop Corley. Then he fights Zab Judah, okay? He goes up in weight at 154, okay? And beats De La Hoya. You would think, oh, he'll take a little break off. Nope. He takes on the redhead white Irishman, Ricky Hatton. The kid was 43-0. Juan Manuel Marquez, who was also in his prime, not old. Ricky Hatton right into Juan Manuel Marquez. Marquez knocked out Pacquiao, just so you guys know. Beats him decisively. Goes right into Victor Ortiz. Beats the brakes off of Victor Ortiz. Goes up in weight to 154. Fights Miguel Cotto in his prime. Miguel Cotto has the size of a middleweight. Floyd fought Miguel Cotto in his prime. Beats Miguel Cotto convincingly. Then takes Saul Canelo Alvarez. They say, well, Canelo was a baby. Canelo was 42-0 when Floyd fought him. Canelo was a monster. A punching, knockout, chin of steel, technically sound, boxing monster of a kid. And guess what? Floyd spanked him like a young child. You would think Floyd would take a break after all these big-time fights. No, he fights Marcos Maidana in his prime. Maidana tests his chin 1 time in the fight. Floyd recovers, beats him decisively. They say, oh, but Maidana almost knocked you out. Okay, I'll fight him again. Floyd gets hurt in these fights. And instead of running away, he runs back into the ring with them. Guys, I'm listing off Hall of Fame or borderline Hall of Fame fighters here. Coming in at number 2, Floyd Money Mayweather. Now, if we were going off of pure records and accomplishments, I would give it to Floyd. But pound for pound in their prime, I have never seen anybody scarier than my number 1 fighter on this list, Roy Jones. Roy Jones is by far the most talented and most gifted fighter the world has ever seen. This guy went from 54 all the way up to heavyweight and then back down to light heavyweight and won titles in every weight class that he went to. Roy Jones at the Olympics, I believe, got robbed. Just like Floyd, he ended up getting a silver medal from 154 all the way up to heavyweight. Not to light heavyweight, not to super middleweight, from 154 to over 200 pounds. He was knocking people out. He beats James Toney at 168. James Toney was 44-0. And he beats James Toney only a couple fights after beating Bernard Hopkins at 160. Guys, there are people that have Bernard Hopkins and James Toney in their top 10 all time, top 15 all time. This guy walks through Bernard Hopkins like a joke, then walks through James Toney like a joke. The way that he went up in weight, knocked people out, and just carried his power. He was able to beat Tarver. He ended up getting knocked out by Tarver, but that was after going up to heavyweight and knocking out or beating John Ruiz. But for me, it's the way that he transcended weight classes, and pound for pound, we have never seen anybody with the explosiveness besides Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was the only fighter that had the explosiveness and the athletic ability of Roy Jones. But for Roy Jones to go from 154 all the way up to heavyweight and win titles at every division and upset James Toney and Bernard Hopkins, for me, that's my number 1 fighter. Anyways, that's my top 10. You guys let me know what you agree with, disagree with. Should Floyd be number 1? Is Floyd really a runner who beat up a bunch of old guys, even though most of the guys I named in this video were younger than him? Am I too low on Muhammad Ali? Am I tripping for that? Manny Pacquiao deserved to be higher. Who did I miss? You guys let me know. Until next time, it's your boy Keegan. Like, share, subscribe. Por favor.